guest here this morning on the show. His name is J.J. Carroll. Now, Carroll is spelled differently than what you would expect. And the reason I'm telling you that is because he writes on Substack. And you can read his stuff at J.J. Carroll, spelled Carrell. Carrell at Substack.com. He is a retired Border Patrol agent. He was the deputy patrol agent in charge of the San Diego sector, and has a rather unique perspective on all this that's going on right now. Good morning, JJ. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me. This is a very important topic that's, I believe, is the number one threat to our republic.
Well, I was just talking about that, and I mentioned to you off the air, I said, look, we've got the obvious. It's obvious what the Democrats get out of this. They get to import a poverty class that will shout down the middle class, take their jobs, and then the middle class won't be independent and won't do what they did in 2016 anymore. So that'll take care of the middle class, but there's the erasing of the idea that a nation state is a viable way for humans to organize themselves. And I see that as what's going on right now on the global scale.
Well, you're seeing that in America. They just came out with a study in Center for Immigration Studies, a great organization, came out last month, and they showed that total American population growth from 2016 to 2021, 77% of all of our population growth in America came from legal or illegal immigrants and their offspring. So you're looking at within a generation, we will be outnumbered in America, and I believe this is the ultimate goal, is a demographic shift from citizens to non-citizens. And you just do it. Now it's simple data and math problem. It has nothing to do with race, ethnicity, any of that other stuff. The left is going to scream at me for saying that.
Yeah.
This is a complete numbers game now.
Well, they invented replacement, and now, because I remember the headline in the New York Times, yes, we can replace them. And that was right after the 2016 election, and they were so upset about the fact that, Trump had been elected basically by the middle class. And so the story was, yes, we can replace them. But the thing is, if the left doesn't want you to talk about something, they'll relabel it racist so you won't. But race has nothing to do with replacement. It's class. It's about importing a poverty class that will always vote left.
Yes, and because these individuals that are coming over, I spent a decade on the border and another 15 years along the coastline running task force against human and narcotic smuggling along the coastline. And we're looking at, when you look at the numbers that are happening right now, we're talking millions, tens of millions of people by the time Biden leaves office, hopefully in another year and a half, 2 years. The numbers are staggering.
Yeah.
Right now we have, I'm getting calls from my sources just in Imperial Beach Station, California. You're looking at 1,000 people squatting on the between the fences right now. 1,000 people, and that is just within 3 miles of the border, of the 2,000-mile border. They want this in. These people are functionally illiterate in their own language. I'm not disparaging them. I'm just telling you the truth. They are uneducated. They're unskilled, and there are millions upon millions of them. And what a great way to control our nation is by controlling people that have no idea what our language is. They have no understanding of our freedoms and our rights bared to us from our Constitution and Bill of Rights. No idea that we're a republic instead of a democracy. So those people are easy to control because they're going to need the government on every level. Where U.S. citizens that are clinging, as Obama said, to our guns and our Bible, we understand our rights and we're not going to give them up easily, and they know that.
Yeah, you mentioned citizenship. Once you can just walk into this country and get everything that a citizen gets, or even more, then that erases also the meaning of citizenship. In other words, there's no reason why you would want to be a citizen over and above anything else. So you make American citizenship irrelevant and basically worthless. And that definitely grooms you for global government, does it not?
It does, and that is a great point, and that's something I argue about constantly. People don't seem to understand that, is we are now watering down what it is to be a citizen of the United States of America. And what is the greatest thing about being a citizen of America is we have one vote, one voice, one vote. Now your vote is totally watered down to nothing. You brought in, here's the numbers. 7.5 million people have crossed the border illegally and arrested by the Border Patrol. 87% of those people to 90% have been released.
Mm-hmm.
All of them have been released. All of my data, all of my contacts and experience believe that another 10 million people have crossed our borders illegally, undetected. Meaning they ran through the,
10.
I would say my estimate is between 12 and 15 million people have come across our border, absconded and or been arrested and released by Joe Biden in this term right now. And we are hurtling to 15 to 20 million by the end of his term. And those are conservative numbers.
You know what this is? This is the Cloward-Piven strategy applied to immigration.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the Cloward-Piven strategy is you flood the system until the system breaks, and then you present your plan as the solution to the broken system. You'll notice that Mayorkas and all these other people, our system is broken. It wasn't broken when Trump was running it. It was working just fine. No, it's not broken. You're not doing it. And this is their way of they keep saying we need comprehensive immigration reform. And I've been hearing that for 20 years. And everybody knows what that is. It's amnesty for millions and millions of people already here.
Well, when you look, you mentioned Trump. So let's go. For 24 years, I was in the United States Border Patrol. Of 21 of those 24 years, I was losing all the time. All the time. We were just losing because we were being manipulated, and there was criminality within the system from all the presidentials, Republicans and Democrats. I would receive 24-hour reports at the end of Trump's term. We were arresting 150 to 450 people in a 24-hour period across the whole southern border. That's almost non-existent. We were within 6 to 8 months of Trump being reelected of having the border completely secure. I know your listeners are saying there's no way when you look at what's happening today. I am telling you, we were 6 to 8 months away from being completely a sovereign nation with a secure border. The day Biden took office, those daily report numbers of arrests jumped to over 5,000.
Yep.
We are now over 10,000 arrests and releases a day now. Does anybody understand that we're hurtling past the 3 million mark for annual arrests and releases? It's a simple math number. And then the next question that has to be asked, and no one asked it, what is that number of illegal immigrants that we allow in that triggers somebody to say in the government, okay, that's enough? Nobody asked what's that number.
Well, there isn't any.
No, there isn't. And you have to ask yourself, okay, there's 8 billion people in the world. Half of those live in squalor we can't imagine. Half of that 4 billion, 2 billion live in poverty and misery that would make us not be able to sleep at night. So we're looking at 2 to 4 billion people that want to come into America. Well, are we going to take all 2 or 4 billion? I mean, that's an honest answer that you would think anyone in the media with half a brain would ask Mayorkas when he's standing in front of them. What's the end of this? How many are you going to bring in? Are you going to replace the total population of America and bring in 330 million? What is the number, sir? And he won't tell you. Well, and when you want to talk about, Jim, you want to talk about the person, the tip of the spear. When you look at who's driving this, it is Alejandro Mayorkas. This man was the director of USCIS under Obama, and he has created every policy that we're dealing with today. He created DACA. He implemented it. He's trying to destroy Title 42 for whatever God knows reason. He does catch and release. He does prosecutorial discretion, and on and on and on I can go. And he is the tip of the spear.
And he lies right to your face. I mean, he's like Baghdad Bob, with the tanks in back of him saying, the Americans are burning in their tanks. And no, they're not. They're coming to visit you, pal.
Yeah. Oh, no, the border's secure. The border's secure. And okay, here's something I would like you to know and your audience to know, because I discovered this through my sources just last night. So right now, the drug cartels control everything, and they decide the movement of the groups, okay, across the border. In Imperial Beach, California, it's a border station that goes from the Pacific coast 6 miles into San Ysidro Port of Entry. Every day, every single day, there are groups of hundreds of individuals from the continent of Africa, from nations Sudan, Somalia, Angola, Nigeria, Ethiopia, just to name a few. Every day there's about 1,000 of them that come over and squat. My sources are telling me, and I fact checked this, and I'd be very confident stating this. Every 24 hours, that one station in the whole Border Patrol has 50 individuals. These are all military age adult male.
Right.
50 of them, red flag for terrorist connections. Of those 50, every single day we are arresting confirmed 5 terrorists every day at a one station. That should make every American hair stand up and go, oh, dear God. Because the next question that I ask my buddies, and they tell me they follow through with it, I say, well, how many are getting away that you don't know that's not in your database? And they go, this is what I'm hearing from Border Patrol agents. They said, we don't know, and it scares us to death that we're releasing these terrorists into our nation. This is happening as I speak to you right now, that we are arresting known terrorists, the ones that are found to be inconclusive, meaning we can't really determine if they are or not. They got redlined and they got pulled away from the herd of humanity to be interviewed, and we don't know. What do we do? Do we do safety precautions? No. Those other 45 people every single day are released into America.
Yeah, because Alejandro Mayorkas just can't get enough of them. You know, and you mentioned terrorists. What about potential terrorists? Now, we got millions of people in this country who are still beholding to the cartels. Now, what if a cartel contacts an otherwise peaceful illegal immigrant and says, we need you to stage an event. We need you to shoot up a shopping center or drive your pickup truck into a crowd of people, say at a bus stop. We want to create a terrorist event. Now, you can do that for us, or you could say no, but if you say no, we're going to burn your sister in Mexico to death and mail you UPS your mother's head.
You know, it's funny when you say that, and I can as you're saying that, I'm thinking about all the crazy left and all the other people are scoffing and going, this guy, he's so out of touch. Does anybody understand the brutality and the savagery of the cartels and what they do? So no, that's not from outside the realm of reality. They're burning people and then putting them in containers to make them soup. There's human soup containers all across Mexico. They're hanging people from their torsos with no head or genitalia off bridges in Mexico. That's coming to America. People have no idea that the cartels own the border. Do you think these drug savages are going to stop in Phoenix or San Diego? No, they're going to see the weakness of Biden and the treachery of Mayorkas, and they're going to move north. I am telling you right now, there are millions upon millions of individuals in our nation that are criminal, illegal aliens that have already been through our jail system. This is what we know. What we don't know is what is even beyond scary and beyond the reality. I know that there are thousands of illegal alien terrorists in our nation. That is a fact. And anybody that's in immigration and that does it day in and day out, they will back me up. Mayorkas and those clowns will say that I'm crazy, but I'm telling you, the men and women that work daily are lockstep with that statement with me.
Well, I don't.
And that should scare America.
Yeah, I don't think you're crazy. And I said earlier, this is more dangerous than World War II, because at least in World War II, we had the backing of the government. We knew who to fight. Here, we're on our own. Our own government is attacking its country and trying to destroy it.
Well, thank you for saying that out loud, because I've been saying that, and a lot of people, and I tell them, listen, this is everything that's happening on the border and in immigration is intentional. This is strategically planned out.
Yep.
And then if you agree with me that my data is correct, which it is, and it is factually out there within the website and DOJ and on and on and on. It's all out there for consumption. If you believe that the numbers are correct, and they are, because these are DHS numbers, I'm using the fictitious numbers they put out. Then if you believe it's intentional, then if it's intentionality, then it's treason. And then if it's treason, what are you going to do? Are you just going to allow it to continue to happen to America? You can't bring in millions and millions of illegal immigrants and destroy our society, our culture, our language, the way we do life, and then the potential for terrorist attack, and then the murders and rapes and all of the other stuff that comes with it. And you claim that, well, that's just the way it is. No, it's intentional. It's on purpose. And I believe, and I'll state it very clearly, that Alejandro Mayorkas is a traitor to our nation.
Oh, yeah.
He needs to be at minimum impeached, but he won't be impeached because the Republicans are in this game too. This is a bipartisan treasonous act against America. The Republicans they do the song and dance, but they're totally in lockstep with the Democrats. The Democrats are just more malicious than the Republicans.
Well, I'm not so sure that they're in it to the same extent, but you're right. They are. I mean, we've got the Chamber of Commerce type Republicans that, I mean, they never saw cheap labor they didn't love. And so,
Correct.
boy, the price that we're going to pay for that. I mean, see, they ought to know better. The Democrats are ideologues. Okay. They're the product of a Marxist school system over the last 50 years. And so they're behaving just as you would expect them to behave. But the Republicans ought to know better. And the ones that don't ought to be prosecuted. You know, you talk about a traitor. A traitor is a guy that takes $1.5 billion from our arch enemy, China, and then lies about it. That's treason.
Yes. But you talk about the level of complicity. I mean, you look at senators like Tom Tillis and Lindsey Graham, and
Right.
you go down to Paul Ryan, and you can go all the way through. I can just name.
Sure.
When I say that they're not as malicious as Democrats, however, if I am robbing a bank and I'm shooting up the bank and I'm just the guy in the back seat of the car and I don't do anything, I'm actually part of it.
Yep.
I'm part of. I have equal culpability of this. I may not have decided to shoot somebody in the bank, but you sat there and allowed it happen. These are your colleagues. The Republicans for decades have just sat there and allowed this to happen. I mean, millions of people are crossing our border and they do nothing. They say nothing. And then if that's the truth, which it is, then ask the simple question, why are you doing nothing? Because you are getting lobbyist money from the Chamber of Commerce, and then you're also getting corporate gigs paying you tens of millions of dollars after you leave office. It's all about power and money. You know that. It always comes down to power and obtainment of wealth.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, you have to look hard to find the Josh Hawleys and the Ted Cruzes amongst all these people. And we have some people who are fighting for this. And during the Trump administration, as you just testified to a little while ago, this whole thing was under control because we were actually doing our system. If you don't enforce the system, don't tell me it's broken. Okay. Don't put sugar in my gas tank and then tell me there's something wrong with with the way my car was built.
Yeah.
Because that's just flat out BS.
Well, yeah, because you look at that and that's what, and you mentioned this prior, and this is exactly the Piven concept. Destroy the system, blame the system, say the system's overrun, and this is a playbook they've used for decades in immigration. They did it, and they did it to Ronald Reagan. They lied to Ronald Reagan and said, let's do amnesty, because amnesty's the golden calf they're going after.
Right.
So what they'll say, and they always say this, and just be ready for it because it's already starting. We have to, quote, cleanse the system, clean it out. The system's okay, but we just need to make a few twerks to it. But the way to do it, let's give amnesty to the 35 million people that are here illegally, and then we'll start enforcing the border because our system really works. We just need to manipulate it a little bit. No, all you have to do is enforce it like Trump did, in spite of McConnell not giving him the billions of dollars he needed to build the wall, because McConnell was saving those billions for Ukraine and Afghanistan. But don't worry about America. I'll throw you nickels to build that wall. That wall works. Again, we are facing today Title 42 ending, and 1 million people are going to bonsai the border in the next 3 to 4 days. And I'm telling you, if Trump was in office, there would be not one single individual able to cross that border without being detected and apprehended. Oh. That is how powerful that stolen election was.
Yeah, tell me about it. I remember when the Mexicans started to cooperate with us and put their military on the border on their side was right after Trump said, I will put a 25% tariff on all of your goods coming out of Mexico.
Yes.
And the left went nuts. Well, they're one of our biggest trading partners. And so, but you know who didn't go nuts? The Mexicans. They were banging on Trump's door that afternoon going, could we talk?
Yep.
Yeah, that worked.
Trump, he's a genius, right? He came in, and what people say, oh, you're a racist because of Border Patrol. Do you know that the Mexicans have a Border Patrol? If you took a picture of their fence, you would think it's in Arizona. They have the same They have the same landing mat fence that we do. So and what Trump did was genius. He went down to the Northern Triangle, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala, and to Mexico. And he said, you're going to stand up your own version of the military. You're going to stop this. And they were so used to dealing with impotent presidents, they laughed at him. They literally laughed at him and said, go pound sand. And he goes, okay, I call your bluff. All foreign aid is stopped. You get nothing. Within 24 hours, they're all like, yes, sir.
Mhm.
How high do you want me to jump?
Yep.
That is what a leader is.
Exactly.
America has the greatest power. We are the greatest nation in the world. Are you telling me that I can send space shuttles out to Mars to take pictures and send them back to our nation, but I can't keep a 3-year-old Guatemalan out of my country? Are you insane?
Yeah.
This is insanity.
Exactly.
We're living in a world of lies and deceit and treason within our nation.
Okay.
And if I sound passionate about it,
Well, you
it's because
are.
I am, because I'm watching the degradation and the total transformation of our nation in front of our eyes, just like Barack Obama wanted. He wanted a fundamental transformation of America, and we are now witnessing it happen in real time.
I only got 30 seconds. I hope you have a barf bag handy. Do you know what the theme of the Biden reelection is going to be?
No, what is it?
No one left behind.
Oh, God. Are you serious? Are you joking?
When I first heard it, I thought it was a joke. No one left behind. Let's see, Afghanistan, Syria. No one left behind. How about the entire middle class? How about America left behind?
It would be funny if it wasn't so sad and our country wasn't on the precipice of national suicide. I
got to go. I only have 8 seconds. I'll plug your Substack after the news break, okay?
Great. Thank you for your time.
Hey, JJ, thank you so much for your service. Really appreciate it, pal. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.